How did they win? How the hell did they win? I'm legitimately asking that question. How did they win? Cause I got no answers. I got no answers. I don't think the Flyers deserve to win this game. To be frank with you, they 100% did not deserve to win this game. But I would say the only reason they win this game is because of Trevor Zegras. Because Trevor Zegras is probably right now the only thing that's keeping this Flyers team afloat offensively. Trevor Zegras is the entire offense for the Flyers. Let's be real here. Let's be real here. Flyers go up 3-0 in this game, playing a fantastic first period. They score 2 power play goals in this economy. Where do we ever see the Flyers score 2 power play goals? 2 power play goals in one game, let alone one game, one period. They score 2 power play goals on a 5-on-3. Bobby Brink gets 2 goals. Cam York gets a goal off of a beautiful beat from Trevor Zegras. Trevor Zegras also having a good setup on the second Bobby Brink goal. Trevor Zegras also scores a nasty shootout goal because he's literally just a cheat code in the shootouts for some reason. But then everything basically comes crumbling down in the second period. You got an early chance. You didn't score on it. Then Montreal scores 4 unanswered goals off a couple of penalties that maybe you can consider questionable, but that are only called in Montreal, because they always say Montreal typical. They get calls in their favor. That's no doubt there. But still, penalties are penalties. You gotta do whatever. Do whatever it's Montreal has so much talent. Like, seriously, I would kill to have the level of talent that Montreal has, because that team's good. That team's going to be good for a very long time. Ivan Demidov is going to be a superstar. Cole Caulfield's already a superstar. Nick Suzuki is great. Lane Hutson's great. They have a good team. They have a good young nucleus there in Montreal, and I would kill for the talent that they have. Realistically, seriously, if you go from the first period towards the second period, it is a drastic different experience of basically the entire Flyers fandom in a whole. First period, holy shit, they respond to Rick Tocchet's comments about the team lacking will, blah, 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 after the very horrible weekend against Toronto and Calgary, where those games were basically the most boring things that I've watched in my entire life, with no offensive production whatsoever. Oh, they respond. They score 3 goals. They're basically just completely dominating Montreal. Montreal cannot register shots on net, and the Flyers are registering a bunch of shots on net, which is something that is insanely crazy. But then Montreal comes back. They tie the game. They take the lead. Where it comes into that second period, where you do have a power play in that second. I think it was when Montreal made the game 3-1. 3-1. You have a power play, and Matvei Michkov sets up Sean Couturier perfectly for a one-timer backdoor, literally right next to the net. What does Sean Couturier do with that pass? Completely muffs it, completely whiffs it. It goes into the corner. That would have been an easy bury-in right there for Sean Couturier. Easy point there for Matvei Michkov. It would have been a 4-1 game, and maybe we're talking about something completely different here. And then once Montreal makes it 4-3, Matvei Michkov at the end of the second period, also with another great setup to Christian Dvorak net front for a one-timer, couldn't bury it, and we could have been talking about a tied game going into the intermission rather than Montreal being up 4-3. Now, good for Nikita Grabenkin to get his first NHL goal. That's a huge goal for him, and just in general to tie the game up there. Huge for him, proud for him. I've liked the way that Grabenkin has been playing in his limited ice time, even though fucking Rick Tocchet says I got to find a way to utilize him more than benches him constantly, just the Rick Tocchet experience there. Very happy there for Grabenkin. Very happy with him, pleased with him. But I just got to say, man, there are so many things. I don't even know what to how to even properly think about this game, whether to think positively about this game, that you found a way to survive and found a way to get a win out of this game when you clearly didn't deserve to win, because yes, that is hockey. Sometimes you win games that you don't deserve to because you managed to survive the overtime with Montreal completely controlling the puck the entire time, and you found a way to get out of the overtime and into the shootout where you actually do find some success in. And Trevor Zegras, like I said, is an absolute cheat code in the shootout because he's fantastic in shootouts. And thankfully, Dan Vladar was able to come up big with some of those saves late in the game and also in overtime and also in the shootout, where Dan Vladar, throughout that stretch in the second period where Montreal was scoring their goals, looked a little bit shaky, overcommitting to some shots, just basically scrambling everywhere in the crease. So, yeah, he definitely stepped up as well. But there are so many things that I don't like about this team, it's not even funny. I know I was speaking positivity last week when they were playing good, and yes, I will credit the team when they're playing good. But still, I have the overall feelings of this team. I still don't think they just have enough. They clearly don't have enough talent. Look at the talent discrepancy compared with Montreal and the Philadelphia Flyers. It's nowhere even fucking close. Nowhere even fucking close. I would kill for the level of talent that Montreal has. Kill for it. Kill for it. And the Flyers are so far away, it's not even funny. Not even funny. I'm not even talking about contending for a Stanley Cup. I'm talking about being just a fun team to watch, being a good team night in and night out, because you just don't know what you're getting with this brand of Flyers hockey on a nightly basis. That's what I've seen. Without Trevor Zegras playing like a superstar, because Zegras is playing like a superstar, they probably don't have as many wins as they have right now. Realistically, they don't, because Zegras has been flat out fantastic. Another 2 points for him. Just continuing to rack up those points. This is the Trevor Zegras that was at the beginning of his career in Anaheim, that he lost in Anaheim. Regained some form here, got a breath of new fresh air in Philadelphia, and he's taken the most of it. And he's playing fantastic. And he is basically the entire Flyers offense. Realistically. He just is. Owen Tippett fucking stinks. Owen Tippett stinks. How many fucking grade A chances is Owen Tippett gonna fucking get for him to not bury on? I think the dude had a shorthanded breakaway, doesn't score. He had another breakaway, doesn't score. He has all these grade A chances throughout the entire game, doesn't fucking score. You're supposed to be a goal scorer. You gotta bury it. Oh, look at the nice stretch that you went on to start the season where you scored, 5 goals in 6 games or something like that? Yeah, dude hasn't scored a goal since. Sean Couturier, I've defended Sean Couturier. I think he's giving it everything that he has, but he has hands of fucking stone, because anybody else probably should have buried that pass from Matvei Michkov on that power play. And like I said, if they score that goal from that pass from Michkov, probably talking about a completely different game here, because maybe Montreal doesn't come back into it. They got the goal, Montreal scores their first goal, then the Flyers get that goal right back on the power play, maybe something completely different happens. So there's also things there. It's very frustrating. And granted, I'm not a fan with the way Michkov's playing, but a lot of Flyers fans are getting very frustrated with Matvei Michkov, and it's very understandable. Like I said, I'm more lenient with Michkov, but I can understand why people are being so critical of him, because one, he's supposed to be the face of the franchise for the future, and he's just struggling to generate points. But then I also have a criticism here of your fucking coaching staff. If you're trying to get Matvei Michkov going, I don't care if he's behind the 8 ball whatsoever. Why on Sunday against the Calgary Flames is he playing on a line with Rodrigo Abels as his center? I understand Tyson Forster went down with an injury. You have to shake up the lines a little bit or something like that. Still, why is Matvei Michkov playing with Rodrigo Abels when previous games, when you had him paired with Trevor Zegras, it looked like he was regaining a little bit of his form and looked like he was gaining a little bit of his confidence? Why would you shake that up? Why would you shake that up? Now, granted, Michkov tonight played on a line with Sean Couturier and Bobby Brink, and I think they stayed there basically throughout the entire game. And Michkov, I think, got a plus on the first goal with the Bobby Brink goal, and he had a chance in the shootout. He made some good passes, like I said, the one to Couturier, the one to Dvorak, where those guys don't bury. He also had a very bad play in overtime, where I guess he didn't realize that Zegras was going to the bench, and it resulted in a turnover, I guess. So yeah, Michkov isn't playing his best hockey, nowhere close to it. But I do think eventually you'll get to the Michkov that we all know and can appreciate. But it's just like, holy fucking shit, people on Twitter just see Ivan Demidov doing Ivan Demidov things, and they're just like, holy shit, Montreal got the better Russian player. Can we just appreciate that both players are good? I mean, yeah, Demidov was going to be a good player. I'm not. It's like Flyers fans have already turned on Matvei Michkov and thinking he's not going to be as good as Demidov. They just, and I'm not denying Demidov is great. He is magical on the ice. He is fantastic to watch. When Michkov is at the top of his game, like we saw last year, he's also fantastic to watch. So it's right now. Yes, he's not playing like Matvei Michkov, and yes, there's things that I'm hearing on the inside that I don't like. But I'm just going to be more lenient with it because he's literally the only elite prospect talent that you have right now on the roster. Granted, Trevor Zegras, he's not a prospect, though. Trevor Zegras, he's got years in him in the NHL. He's basically one of the younger guys. He's one of a veteran, I guess you could say. Like, seriously, if you look at the Flyers prospect system, they really don't have much in terms of elite talent that could be a face of a franchise. It could be a top player. Granted, the only player that else you could talk about with that in the prospect system is Porter Martone. And that's basically it. So this week has basically been a lot of frustrated Flyers fans getting a lot of frustration out with this team, and it's completely understandable. It really just is. It really just is. I mean, this team is so far behind in the talent. Like Travis Konechny, I know he's got a couple of goals over the past few games. It's still nowhere near enough for Travis Konechny standards. He just does not look the same right now. Couturier, like I said, I think he's just giving you all he's got. You know, granted, he got off to a good start on the season, but just still, it's not enough. Owen Tippett fucking stinks. Now, yes, you don't have Tyson Forrester, and Tyson Forrester was playing very well. Drysdale still playing well. York still playing solid. Sanheim still playing solid. Vladar has looked human the past two starts. You know, he didn't have a good game against Toronto. Didn't have the best game tonight, but he did step up at the end of the game when you didn't needed him to. So it's frustrating watching this team because when you see them going up against like other teams that are young, going through rebuilds, maybe close to being done rebuilds, just the complete discrepancy of talent that the other team has compared to you. That's what's so frustrating about this. Over the past years of the drafts and just maybe missing on draft picks and seeing players that you should have drafted go somewhere else. And then obviously the whole Cutter Gauthier situation, granted that was just, can't do anything about that shit. He didn't want to play here. I mean, you can't really do anything about that, regardless of what happened. So even we still don't know what happened in that situation. So you just got to roll with it and just like, he didn't play here. But shouldn't have drafted Jet Luchenko. The fake playoff run put you in a position to even make that stupid pick for the Luchenko draft, because if you don't go on that fake playoff run, you get a top pick probably. You would have had a chance at either Celebrini or even Demidov. So it's just it's just crazy. It's crazy. This team is very frustrating. They're frustrating to watch on a nightly basis because I don't know what version of the team I'm going to get. And me just not being the biggest Rick Tocchet guy in the world. Now, I'm not saying that Rick Tocchet sucks. I'm not saying that Rick Tocchet is a bad coach. I just was never a fan of the hire. It was just another guy that was just brought in here. He's Keith Jones's friend, former Flyer, blah, blah, blah. Get under the fan base. Get back the fan base, blah, blah, blah. Flyers hockey, blah, blah, blah. Culture, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff in this, that, and the third. I just don't think Rick Tocchet's system meshes with some of the players that you do have on this roster. Because, granted, the other night he talked about lacking will, going to the net, getting into the dirty areas, all that stuff. And yes, granted, you do need to have some of those aspects in a team to be successful. But it just kind of feels like that's all that he's stressing is just going to the dirty areas. Some of these players, that's just not in their MO. That's not Travis Konechny's game. That's not Matvei Michkov's game. Realistically, the only guy I would say that does that on a consistent basis is Nikita Grabenkin, and he plugs them on the fourth line. If you want a guy that's going to go to the net and provide screens, that's Nikita Grabenkin, so give him more time. And you always talk about having to give him more. I got to find more time for him. I got to find more space for him and all of that stuff. Then you got to play him more. It's crazy. And then in terms of just the team in general, like they're so clogged at the wing. They still don't have a top center. Like seriously, this team cannot survive an injury. It's insane. We saw that over the weekend without Sean Couturier for one game, and we're seeing it without Tyson Forrester. So this team does not have the depth to survive an injury. They're clogged at the wing in general. Owen Tippett stinks. They got to trade Owen Tippett. They have to trade Owen Tippett. I'm not a fan of his contract. They extended him way too early. Or giving him you don't even need to consider going out on an 8-year deal. Now, granted, yes, he's not making that much money, but it's still the principle of signing a guy long term that probably shouldn't have been signed long term. Because you're, like I keep saying, you're so clogged at the wing, and you have so many wing prospects. You're going to have to make moves at some point to get rid of some guys that are on the roster. Alex Bump's a wing. Porter Martone's a wing. All these other guys that you drafted from college the past year, they're wings. So it's just, you have so much of a surplus, you're going to have to make a move eventually. When you have to make a decision on an Owen Tippett or something like that, most likely you're going to have to. Whether that's a Bobby Brigg, but Bobby Brigg looks like he's playing really well. He had 2 goals tonight, getting into the front of the net, doing what Tocchet said. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because, granted, I do preach patience. I really do. There's a lot of things that I hear on the inside that I'm not happy about with the way the things are being ran. Some of that has to do with the front office. Some of that has to do with Matvei Michkov, which I'm not going to elaborate on because I just can't. But, yeah, it's not the best. But I'm going to be more lenient towards the players. I'm going to be more lenient towards Michkov because he's still an immense talent. I just don't know. They have to do something that's going to spark things. That's just, it can't be more of the same. Because right now, with the way the Eastern Conference is, there's not one outright terrible team. There just isn't. You're probably more on the bottom than not, in my personal opinion. But like I said, the only reason you're in this position to begin with is because of Trevor Zegras. I don't know. I get so up and down with this team, it's not even funny, to where my opinion just constantly changes on a whim. But I think I lean more towards the negative than I lean towards the positive. I just don't know. They do have some interesting players. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They do have a lot of interesting players. Obviously, Matvei Michkov. Obviously, Porter Martone, Tyson Forster as well. If Drysdale keeps playing the way that he has been playing, there's definitely an interesting piece right there. Brink, maybe. But you hear what I'm talking about there. That's a lot of wings besides Drysdale. There's no centers. You send Jet Luchenko. Jet Luchenko wasn't the pick. I'm tired of hearing about that. He's only 19. There's a bunch of players that are at Jet Luchenko's age that are just coming in and dominating the league. It's not that rare anymore. Kids come in, they play well. And the Flyers just seem to lack that. I know Michkov did that last year, but right now he's struggling. And whether that's behind the 8 ball, whether that's being out of shape, whether that's just snake bitten and all that stuff, I don't know. But right now it's frustrating a lot of people. Konechny, you never should have extended that contract. If you really wanted to progress the rebuild further, you would have traded Konechny for a lot of assets because you probably could have gotten a good amount of assets for Travis Konechny. You definitely could have. Now, I don't know if you're stuck with that contract. Granted, he does have a no movement clause that kicked in this year because the new contract started this year. You're stuck with Sean Couturier. No one's going to take him. You could probably trade Owen Tippett. I hate that I'm talking about this right now. I just do. There's just a lot of things on this team that I don't like. I just see more of the same. And granted, I wasn't expecting them to take this large leap this year. Nowhere near in hell. It's just that I feel like we're getting mixed messages from the front office. And whether that's a thing or not, I'm not entirely sure, as the Sixers just blew the game. Holy shit. So it looks like the jinx from the Flyers went towards the Sixers. Holy hell. Because they were playing a good game, and they are blowing this game to Chicago. Granted, there's 3 seconds left. They are down by 2. My God. It really just makes me think about this front office. Because they collaborate, the front office, when they make their decisions, it's all a collective unit. It's all collaboration. Not everybody gets a say in what they do. I don't think one person runs the entire thing. It's Danny and it's Jonesy. Those two work. And then Dan Hilferty lets the guys do what they do. And I'm not sure Talcott has to say since he's here. I think that's probably what hinders a lot of these things. That's just my personal opinion. And I think it's more of the Jonesies of the world that may be limiting Danny Briere. I think you see that reflected in the draft. I think you see that reflected in the coaching hires. I just think that you see that. I don't know. I don't know. It's just very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Granted, a lot of these other teams were way further in rebuilds than you are. Montreal way further in the rebuild. What else? Other teams, San Jose's way further in their rebuild because they got so much young talent. Even you could say Chicago's way further in their rebuild. A lot of these other teams that started rebuilding way before you, they're way further than you are. Because granted, those teams got higher picks than you did. You gotta stop doing this half in, half out measures. You gotta commit to one thing. And that's what this team's constantly stuck in. And the Sixers just lost. Grimes took a 3 for the win, and it went off, and they couldn't get the rebound. Well, Sixers blew that game. That's not fun. Not fun whatsoever. So Flyers almost blow it, find a way to win. Sixers blow it. Joy. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. And I guess you could say that's the first frustrating Sixers loss of the season. Definitely you can say that. So let's see. Seriously, when you just look at the Flyers, the one bright spot that you could say with this entire team right now is Trevor Zegras. He's just been that good. He has just been that good. And I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's been that good. He has been that good. Now, I don't think the points right now are replicating in how many games they played. So we got 2. So he has 15 points in 13 games right now. Owen Tippett. So, man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. And look at this for the Sixers. They had 45 they played such a fantastic first quarter. They had 45 points in the first quarter. They scored 66 the rest of the way. Jesus. They blew a 24-point lead, failing to hit a single field goal in the final 6 minutes. Jesus Christ. Well, Sixers basketball is back. Man. Crazy, 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 crazy. I want to see the cards stuff from this game. From the Flyers game, that is, just to see where players looked like they were doing really good and not good. So Cam York apparently dominated this game on the offensive side. Owen Tippett. It's going to look positive for Owen Tippett, but I think he had a bad game. Trevor Zegras obviously dominated. Sanheim was very good and very bad, which is the bar is just like whoop on the entire board. Jamie Drysdale, according to the sheet, had a good game. Bobby Brink had a good game. Mitchkov had a good game. Dvorak, Grebenkin, Konechny. So yeah, the lists are definitely going to reflect positively, of course, but it's just annoying. Team is annoying. Team is annoying. And the Sixers do play a back-to-back as well, I think. I think the Sixers play a back-to-back. I think they play tomorrow. If I can look at it. Let me look at the Sixers schedule. Yep, they play a back-to-back. Yep, they play a back, and they play in Cleveland tomorrow. Jesus. So you played the Chicago Bulls, I believe. Are they undefeated still? Are they undefeated? No, they are 6-1 on the year, and you're playing Cleveland, who's 4-3. So, but still, they're going to be a very tough team, especially on the road. So that's a heartbreaking loss for the Sixers. That's probably, you could say, probably their first heartbreak of the year. So yeah, that's definitely an annoying thing. Man. Man, oh man, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. 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 So, going back to the Flyers. This game was very frustrating. They did find a way to win. Yes, that is important. So, in terms of the standings right now, they are 7-5-1. They're in the second wild card spot as we speak. But granted, there's so little separation between all. Like, every team in the Eastern Conference is above 500. Every single team right now through our 13 games. Columbus is above 500. Tampa's above 500. Islanders are above 500. The Islanders are above. Senators are above 500. Sabres are above 500. Rangers, they're at 500. So they're not below it. Capitals are above 500. And the Panthers are above 500. Those are the teams that are behind the Flyers. And everything is just separated by 2 points. So that's how competitive the Eastern Conference is this year. It's crazy how things drastically change. It is absolutely crazy. Like, literally, you can say that there's just one bad team in the National Hockey League this year. That is St. Louis. They're 4-7-2, and the Calgary Flames. And maybe you can throw San Jose into that, but still, they got a very young team and an exciting team. So, that's that. But it is annoying. It is annoying. And here's some stats about Trevor Zegras. Trevor Zegras and the Flyers' losses: 6 games played, 3 points, and 13 shots on goal. Trevor Zegras and Flyers wins: 7 games played, has points in all 7 wins, 12 points total, 4 goals, 8 assists, and he's 3-3 in the shootout, 15 shots on goal. Yep, Trevor Zegras is basically the Flyers' offense. When he's not going, they're not going to win. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line right there. Bottom fucking line. Bottom line. Crazy stuff, boys. Insane. Insane. Well, we don't have any voicemails here, so I'll get to you guys in the chat. I'm just trying to see if there's anything on the Twitterverse right now. Like I said, this entire game was just like the epitome of Flyers Twitter, of Flyers fandom. It was like very high in the first period, burn everything to the ground in the second period, and that was like that for the rest of the game, and then they went in the shit up like, of course. Of course. Of course, watch them find a way to win. When we're all being pissy. And I was a part of that being pissy. So let's see you guys in the chat. Franco. Didn't deserve the win. Tippett was god-awful tonight. And currently watching the Sixers. Hopefully they don't choke. Well, sadly, Franco, they did. And I saw that. I think you posted that in the chat. Pretty ugly win. It definitely was. I see you posting this stuff about your mom, Michael, so sorry that you have to go through what you're going through right there. Just more concerned about the front office. Danny Briere needs to stop getting too cute in the first round. I don't even think, like I said, I don't think it's just Briere. I think Briere is being hindered by the guys around him because they do this whole collaboration thing. Now, I'm not trying to take blame away from Briere, but just stuff that I've heard from the inside. It's just what it sounds like to me. It's what it sounds like to me. Trash. Maxey, Embiid, and Grimes with the most pathetic displays ever. Embiid is cooked. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Sixers missed their final 10 shots and were outscored 13-2 to end the game. They blew a 24-point lead. The Sixers only had 36 points in the second half after scoring 75 in the first half. Tyrese Maxey finished with 39 points but missed shots down the stretch. Damn. 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 That stings. That stings. What else is there? What else is there? So let's look at the schedule. Because the Flyers do have another road game this week on Thursday in Nashville. They play in Nashville. They're back home on Saturday against Ottawa. And then they got 3 days off after that. They play at home against Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid and all that stuff. That's a 7:30 game. Then they're on the road on a back-to-back, St. Louis and Dallas. Then they have 4 days off after that. Home game on the 20th against St. Louis. Home on the 22nd against the Devils. Then they got their 4-game road trip on the week of Thanksgiving. Tampa, Florida, Islanders, Devils. And that's that. Now, I do have a question for you guys before we end it off. If Trevor Zegras continues to play the way that he is playing, he keeps putting up points, he keeps looking like a superstar, does he get consideration for being played on Team Canada? For the not Canada, Team USA. For Team USA for the Olympics this year. Does he get considered that? Because obviously if he continues to play this way, he'll obviously be an all-star for the NHL. They're bringing back the all-star game this year when they originally weren't going to do it. They were going to do like some type of send-off thing for the Olympics, but now I think they're bringing back the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken. NHL All-Star game. Let's see. Maybe they're not doing an All-Star game. Or they're doing All-Star Weekend? Well, that was in... Let's see. I guess they're not doing it. For some reason, I thought they did something new. Okay, so they changed it to 2027. Okay, that makes sense. For some reason, I thought it said, like, oh, we're still playing the All-Star game this year. No, they just moved it to 2027 with the... Because it's supposed to be in the Islanders arena. But, yeah, they're still doing their send-off for the Olympics. So... Nope, no All-Star game. But still, question remains, and question stands. Does Trevor Zegras, if he continues to play the way that he is playing, does he get consideration for playing on Team USA in the Olympics this year? Or technically next year, in 2026? That would be very interesting, because I think he would if he continues to play the way that he's playing. But granted, there's a lot of players that could play on Team USA, and it'll be a very tight space right there. Who knows? I don't see why they wouldn't put him in an All-Star game or an Olympic spot. It's just All-Star game 100%, but they're not having the All-Star game this year because of the Olympics. I just confirmed that. But, like, it's just that there's so many players that'll probably already have that spot locked on Team USA, and he just might be an odd guy out. But I feel like if he puts up the production that he is doing until that point, he has to get consideration of being on the team. Because you already know, like, guys like Jack Eichel will be on there. Guys like Connor Hellebuck, obviously goaltender, so you don't have to worry about that. Like the Fenton, obviously. I'm just trying to think of forwards. Like Matthew Tkachuk, if he's healthy, he'll be on Team USA. Cole Caulfield most likely will be on Team USA. What other guys are on Team USA? Like Tage Thompson might be on Team USA. I'm not sure. I want to see the Team USA roster for the Team USA hockey roster, 4 nations. What was the roster for forwards? I want to see. So yeah, look at the roster right here. It'll be very difficult. So you had Matt Boldy, you had Jack Hughes, Brock Nelson, Brady Tkachuk, Chris Kreider, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, Dylan Larkin, Matthew Tkachuk, Vinny Trocheck, Austin Matthews, Jake Gensel, and JT Miller. Now, some guys that I can maybe see being taken off that list, maybe Brock Nelson gets taken off that list, maybe Chris Kreider. But obviously, guys, Jack Hughes will be on that team. The Tkachuks will be on that team if they're healthy. Austin Matthews obviously will be on that team. Dylan Larkin, Jack Eichel, Jake Gensel, if they're healthy. JT Miller, probably the same thing. So it'll definitely be a tough ask. But like I said, if he keeps continuing to play the way that he's doing, he should get consideration for being on the Olympics. He should get consideration. But who knows? Who knows? I think who's the head coach for Team USA this year? Who's the head coach? USA hockey head coach. Olympics. Is it Mike Sullivan? I think it's Mike Sullivan. Yes, it is Mike Sullivan. And his assistant coaches are John Hines, David Quinn, and John Tortorella on the bench. Oh, yeah, he ain't going to pick Trevor Zegras. He ain't going to pick Trevor Zegras. Why can't the NBA do something similar to the Four Nations face-off at the like the NHL did? They're not going to do that. It's the NBA. They don't care for that stuff. They don't care. They get their Olympics. They play in the summer and all that stuff. When the Summer Olympics happen, they don't care about all of that stuff. And they got the NBA Cup and all that stuff. That's what they want. That's what they want people to see. So, I've gone on too long, longer than I anticipated, but that's what happens when you get into some deep discussion. So, I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does make a great deal of service with the YouTube algorithm. You can also use the code TTPSPORTS. $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Don't pass it up. We'll be back for another Flyers recap on Thursday. Maybe we'll talk about Sixers tomorrow after the back-to-back. Maybe that's where we'll go. So we'll see where things go on there and just how the days play out. So definitely just stay posted with the subscription feed. But for now,